Ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the new look today. My earbuds broke. But with that, we're going to be getting into a great topic for us to talk about by a great up-and-coming content creator. This is about apples to oranges, why Zenless Zone Zero versus Wuthering Waves is dumb. And so we got Arikado Zodan over here who actually plays Wuthering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero. And I gotta say, he's got some very, very, very good takes. However, there's one thing that I did warn him about when it comes to specific types of content. He's actually a regular viewer of my channel. This is one of actually the first videos he made, a critique of Saint. And if you actually did watch this video, you'd recognize that this is actually a very fair vid, right? He actually spends a lot of this gigantic 1 hour segment talking about the great things that I do, but also gets into, you know, some of the things that he wishes I could do differently. It's a fair analysis. And one of the things about this video is, I'm not sure if he's curated the comment section yet. People are basically going ahead and making critiques about me that weren't said in the video, and then also proceeding to say that I'm like the worst CC ever. Yeah, I don't want you to curate Arikado. He's actually in the chat here. And I said, well, you gotta be careful about a couple of things when it comes to making content about me. In that, you're naturally going to attract a lot of just my haters that are probably some of the stupidest people in gacha gaming that are gonna go ahead, not watch the video, assume that it's dunking on me, and then make a comment, leave, that states that I was dunked on. That was something that I told him before, and the comment over here is, after Saint sees this video, he will once again blame this certain audience you attract. No accountability. 123 upvotes. And so, why don't we go ahead, right? This makes it read like this video is super critical, 1000% shitting on me, just because I warned him that comments like this would pop up and then get mass upvoted by, I'm just gonna be honest here, fucking idiots. So with that, let's validate whether or not these claims are getting made. And you want to know something that y'all should probably know before we dive on into this? Arikado is currently subbed to my channel, and he's gifted a total of 25 subs to the channel. So, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get right on into this.
Hey, yeah? You ever wonder why we're here? It's one of life's great mysteries, isn't it?
Nice little skit at the start.
What happens when you take the most parasocial elements of anime culture and combine it with daily routine behaviors, gambling, and sunk cost fallacy?
Mental illness. You attract people with mental illnesses to your game.
You are left with what is known today as the gacha industry.
Sounds
a fat
about right.
red ruby that's seen money come in droves from those whose value judgments have gone out the window when just the right character presents themselves, be it for meta or personal attachment. When so much investment is on the line for a product with a planned obsolescence, it instinctively creates a self-preservation mentality as everyone around the game is compelled to sell everyone on their best, in quotations, game over someone else's.
I mean, that's a natural thing to do, right? It's a natural thing to do when it comes to comparisons, is that you invested time, you invested money, you invested your RNG, right, into a game. Like, think about, like, your crazy echo rolls, your crazy disk drives, artifacts, relics, and you want that value to be as high as possible for as long as possible. Think about people that brag about how good their sports team is doing, how good their soccer team is, how good their basketball team is. Like, you don't play, bro, right? Like, that's not you, but you want to have something to cheer on. And I think gacha games are kind of like the sports teams for, like, I'm trying to think of a word that might not offend people. I just won't say it, right? They're like sports teams for a certain part of the populace.
And while I can make the practice of tribalism a video of its own at possibly triple the video length, I came here to focus on something else. Wuthering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero are the two youngest of the gacha games that represent the big four in the space.
True.
And popularity-wise, are the closest between each other over the gargantuan breakthrough success of Genshin Impact and the refined, tried-and-true runner-up of Honkai Star Rail.
Yeah, I think in my opinion, Honkai Star Rail should drop out of the big four immediately. What a dog shit game with such a dog shit trajectory. Oh my goodness. I've never seen a game go downhill faster than Honkai Star Rail. Like, think about where HSR was like a year ago. Think about where it is now. How did they do that much damage to the game in 1 year? The downfall, the progression of HSR in 1 year should be studied. The shift in public perception, nobody streams the game anymore. The only people that stream the game nowadays are those that are like literally getting paid to do it and have based their entire content around HSR and were not able to branch out into variety or other games. Those are the only people still playing HSR.
Yet despite this sort of camaraderie of being wet behind the ears and looking to make a name for themselves, their respective communities just can't seem to stop tearing each other apart.
Okay. Okay. I'll take fault for the dig I just did in HSR, but that's because I used to play the game, right? I used to actually love the game. I used to enjoy it. And now my E2 and my E2S1 blade has been basically useless for half a year. And the only way to make them playable is to pull the newest unit that costs $470.
As tensions continue to rise from problems inside and outside
When I already spent $1,000 on the E2 blade.
of their games. Today, I want to talk about why this feud between these two games is just about the most pointless waste of energy I have seen lately when it comes to the gift that keeps on giving, that is gacha tribalism.
I mean, to be fair, right? Let's just say I have two cars, right? I have my Dodge Challenger and my Honda Civic. And then one day, my Dodge Challenger goes ahead and just stops working. It won't go past 30 miles per hour unless I take it to the dealership and get it completely retrofitted for like more than what the car originally cost. I am going to think that Dodge is the shittiest car manufacturer ever, and I'm just going to talk shit about it until the end of time. And that's basically what HSR is, and so many gacha games are for a lot of people. They feel like they got scammed. And so they're going to take their experience using this scam that's HSR or the Dodge Challenger in this analogy, and then every time a car is brought up, they'd be like, don't fucking buy this shit. Don't fucking buy it. Just get this Honda Civic instead that I've been using for like 20 years. It's perfectly fucking fine. And I don't need to go ahead and like, you know, pay double of what I did before just to make it go just to make it drivable. Yeah, but that's HSR. When I talk about ZZZ and I raise concerns about power creep and HP inflation in ZZZ, that's because I don't want ZZZ to be another fucking Dodge Challenger in this analogy. Because guess how HSR got that way? Guess what happened for HSR to become that way? Yeah, HP inflation and power creep, yeah.
Genshin Impact in its earlier years, despite its massive success, spent its first few years quickly amassing a loud group of players who felt dissatisfied and neglected by Hoyoverse's unwillingness to update the game with features and content that would satisfy the capital G gamer crowd. The common counterpoint made by those content with Genshin's offerings was to remind players that they were playing a gacha game and that expectations needed to be tempered and other aspects of the game should be focused on and enjoyed over others. What these players fail to recognize,
like the teapot,
is that Genshin Impact's mainstream success was a direct result of Hoyo taking the first steps to push the boundaries of the gacha industry in the first place, and create something closer to an actual retail-released game. The 3D character models, the open world, the refined combat experience, all were things absent or underdeveloped in an overwhelming majority of gacha games that came before it. This lack of combat-focused content, quality of life, and community feedback implemented into the game would result in massive amounts of players regularly abandoning the game in favor of returning to traditional video games or biding their time for competition to come Genshin's way in hopes of some change. Tower of Fantasy was the first challenger in this regard.
Yeah, we all know how that one went, didn't we, boys?
And likely saw a sizable amount of players coming in solely to try to stick it to the man that is Hoyoverse. However,
I actually played this game a lot on release. I made it to the ice area, and then I was like, this game sucks. Yeah, I made it to the ice area, which was like at least a couple of weeks of like progression into the game, and then I was just like, yeah, this is some dog shit, brother.
However, Tower of Fantasy's time at the spotlight was incredibly short-lived, as spite cannot fuel the success of a gacha game alone, and the game itself was severely lacking in several areas, which prevented it from standing up on its own two legs. Gameplay, story, quality of life, polish, value proposition, the list went on and on. However, if one thing was for certain, It was that if a competitor could make a game at even a fraction of the scale and quality of Genshin Impact, you could make it big time.
The story in Tower of Fantasy was actually not that bad, though, to be honest. It was a little bit interesting where, like, your initial friend that you meet ends up turning into, like, a villain. It was sort of interesting.
Sometime later, we saw the release of Honkai Star Rail, and despite it being made by the exact same company, players would still champion it as the superior experience with an actual pulse on the community, despite their credit card swipes all going back into the very same pocket. And look where that's got you now, lads.
Bro talks about why comparisons are bad and then just spends like the first third of the video just shitting on a bunch of games.
But now we come to Wuthering Waves, the first true competition for Hoyoverse and a proper champion to which the hardcore ex-Genshin players could place their faith into and deliver the much needed spanking the mint-picking simulator was long overdue for.
Let me cook. Bro's just talking all this shit. He's like, let me cook.
Than 6 months later when they got their shit together. At every step of the way, extremist Hoyoverse fans were attempting to bury WuWa and never let it see the light of day, with the intent to keep their favorite gacha from ever feeling threatened.
True. That's why brigading is like such a big thing. And I would say the most peaceful time in the Wuthering Waves community. The most peaceful time in the Wuthering Waves community was across versions 1.1 to I would say the end of 1.4. Those were easily the most peaceful times in WuWa because of the launch issues. Everybody in Hoyo thought that the game was like dead or that the game was like going to die. And so there was like a complete like lack of brigading. Absolutely not really that much tribalism at all. None of that stuff. No like real sort of like people constantly shit talking WuWa. And then ever since 2.0 has released, yeah, it's been nuts, bro. It's been crazy. They're so mad that the game is good. The shills from Hoyoverse are so mad that the game is good. It's actually kind of crazy. And believe me when I say, when 2.4 drops, oh boy, boy. It's gonna be wild.
However, with the release of 2.0 and Renesita, the game's quality spoke for itself.
Okay, he already knows.
And all it took was for someone to get a taste of what the Land of Echoes had to offer to know which side of the fence they'd choose to land on. Yet despite all this positive reception, Kuro's darling child remains too small of a voice in the gacha space to take bites out of its true competition. However, that hasn't stopped them from taking bites out of someone else entirely. Zenless
And now we got the ZZZ versus Kuro Games. Oh boy.
Zone Zero. Releasing a little over a month after Wuthering Waves made it.
Hey guys, remember that comment that we saw before? We're about 5 minutes and 22 seconds into the video. I would say for a video like this, the average retention rate, like when viewers will like click off and go do something else, should be at around 40 to 50%. We're roughly almost there, right? I haven't even been mentioned yet. And this is the top upvoted comment on the video. We're about 40% of the way through. We haven't even started talking about Zenless Zone Zero yet. We were just shitting on Hoyo games and then saying how WuWa has been great. After some issues, WuWa has been great. This is what I mean by holy moly. These guys will just look for a comment that shits on me or critiques me and then just upvote it and not even watch the video. They're some of the most useless people on the planet. They're this dumb. Anyways, let's get back on into it. We'll revisit that again once my name is brought up.
Did a prime target for extremists in the WuWa crowd. As Hoyo's newest IP, it was ripe for an opportunity to go on the offensive, especially since ZZZ itself was struggling to find its own footing right out of the gate, and arguably to this very day.
And I blame TVs for that. Yeah, I'm gonna be entirely honest with you. I feel like TVs, now that in retrospect, TVs did irreparable damage to this game. I've always said that one of the biggest problems with ZZZ was that it ended up filtering so much of its potential player base, so much of its potential population, because it's just like nobody wanted to actually play them. That wasn't like weird. Most people that still played ZZZ tolerated TVs, but it was such a massive turnoff for a bunch of people that they just like, that so many individuals that typically would play games like WuWa, play games like Genshin Impact, play games like HSR, they just left. And so if you didn't leave, I'm not saying you're weird. I'm saying that you were extremely patient and extremely tolerant of a system that filtered out a sizable portion of the population. So yeah, and what that's led to is like a lot of reimaginations about the game. Why do you think that 2.0 is an explorative open world where you do puzzles in the open world, where you like scan things, run around, have just like overworld mobs, have waypoints? Because it was kind of dog shit. My opinion was if TV mode was gone, it would have become HI3 clone with less content, for better or worse. Well, it was an HI3 clone with less content for versions 1.5, 6, and 7. It effectively was one of those, and 2.0 is turning it into an open world. So I guess that's where they've decided to land on. I do genuinely think it was an HI3 clone for 1.5 to 1.7.
In more recent weeks, tensions between the two have been rising dramatically as Wuthering Waves has recently suffered a massive backlash following their first anniversary.
Remove TVs equals less content? Well, if the content is the TV, less is more.
Coming from both bad actors trying to push a Hoyoverse agenda and those caught in the crossfire who simply shared similar sentiments the Brigaders had latched onto, resulting in the hardcore WuWa crowd to employ a shoot first, ask questions later approach to handling the backlash. On the other end of the spectrum, Zenless Zone Zero was facing a continual decline in mainstream appeal.
Okay, so first reference is me being brought up with a shoot first, ask questions later mentality. Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with that, sure, absolutely, yeah. If I hear somebody say some dumb shit, I'll be like, yeah, that shit is dumb as hell. I won't be like, okay, oh, honey, I had some questions about the take you made after you've been making after you've made 17 bad takes in a row. Would you like the time to explain the 17th bad take you've made in a row today? No, I was just like, yeah, this guy's a fucking ding dong.
Resulting in the removal of foundational gameplay systems, balance changes, and overhauls to existing mechanics in an attempt to turn the ship back on course. This open display of vulnerability on both sides led to a series of skirmishes between both groups as they fought to preserve the image of their respective game.
I guess this is also the thing, right? WuWa, in a lot of ways, across its entire development, probably up until 2.0, was getting a lot of unwarranted shit. And so the community was naturally very defensive about unwarranted critiques, fake stuff being made up about the game that painted it in a negative light, because they were like, yeah, all this stuff you're saying doesn't make sense, it's not real, but you're just saying it anyways. If you want to compare it to the shit that ZZZ has been getting, well, the critiques for Zenless Zone Zero have been 100% warranted. Let's just be honest over here. ZZZ's gotten a lot of shit, but it's been 100% warranted, at least for the main points it's been getting shit for. Let's go down the laundry list of them, because I want to make sure that the facts get straight, and make sure you correct me if you think I'm wrong. Launching with TVs, despite 3 closed beta tests of people heavily critiquing the entire system. True. Hollow Zero requiring 5 runs on release that all take 45 minutes to do as your weekly, like, simulated universe, divergent universe challenge. You had to play for, like, 4 hours a week. It took them, like, until halfway through 1.1 to fix that. Third, you also got Hoshimi Miyabi. If you think that she was a good addition to the game, you're kind of on crack. Because how is a character a good addition to the game when she does double the damage of the second strongest character and more than double the damage of the first limited release when the first limited release is at M6. What those things did was it heavily damaged the perception of the game, where you're just like, okay, like, they're gonna release characters this strong? These devs are retarded. That's what so many players thought. It's like, holy shit, this DPS character literally deals more than double the damage of everybody else in the game. And sure, they haven't released characters as strong as her, thankfully, but that also has the side effect of, is there any point in pulling any unit that's not a Void Hunter? Or, sorry, Void Hunter class, Void Hunter level, which is, it's the same fucking thing at this point, you idiots. Like, why would they use that terminology again? Yes, Yi Xuan is gonna be super fucking cracked. Everybody knows it. Why wouldn't I just wait for these units? Because I know they're going to invalidate some other character on the roster with their existence. And that's the precedent that's been set. And it just makes you think that, is that the only way that they plan on selling these characters? And it's unfortunate. I don't know why they did it. And so those are the things that the game's been getting shit for. And if you're at this point still trying to defend Miyabi's integration into this game and the amount of damage she deals, I genuinely think you're one of the stupidest people in the space, because there should just be no justifying how early this character released and the power level she was at, other than it just like fucking, it straight up ruined the game for so many people. Oh, and then you have the 58% HP inflation in 3 patches. Yeah, then you have 58% HP inflation in 3 patches too. That's a big one as well. Any of y'all trying to play Deadly Assault? I actually tried to play Deadly Assault. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, that shit is actually not playable. There are like several levels where it's actually not playable.
But what if I were to tell you all of this is just a pointless battle for a perceived gain that neither gacha would see the true value of? Wuthering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero as video games offer completely different experiences to each other.
That's because you don't play the game. We'll do a quick demo of it later, and then you'll be like, damn, I'm retarded.
And quite frankly, have no reason to be at each other's throats all the time. Wuthering Waves' feud with Hoyoverse is more accurately targeted at Genshin Impact and its respective community, not Zenless Zone Zero or even Honkai Star Rail. Those saying that this is a battle between Hoyo versus Kuro, and therefore it doesn't matter which game they target, is ignorant to say. My case in point? The Genshin could never meme. Genshin could never was a popular phrase that emerged from Honkai Star Rail following the announcement of the free 5-star character Dr. Ratio.
Guys, I think we're 50% of the way in through the video. I was brought up one time just to say that the WuWa community, because it's received so many bullshit critiques, just shut down the critiques. We're past the 50% retention mark, which is what a video like this should typically have. And this is the top upvoted comment. It's so ironic that they're talking about me blaming the certain audience for doing retarded shit on his channel. And then in this comment that's saying that I'm wrong for talking about this, they just prove the existence of this dynamic. This has to be the most ironic comment I've ever seen. If this was in like a script for like a skit, people would say this is too unbelievable.
Being rewarded to all players for the duration of the 1.6 version and lasting until version 2.1. Despite both games belonging to Hoyoverse, the hardcore Honkai Star Rail community would frequently take opportunities to take shots at their big brother whenever it was appropriate to them. ZZZ
True.
even had their own variation of it following the free release of Haramasa, though to a much lesser response, as Haramasa did not have the same widespread appeal and meta strength as Dr. Ratio.
Guys, nobody even talks about this character. You wanna know what the funniest thing is? Is that even the ZZZ community knows this character was like not really that good of a gift. He is not mentioned a single time. He isn't mentioned a single time in any of my videos talking about the ZZZ anniversary. He's like so bad that nobody uses him as like a crutch to like bolster the argument about how generous the ZZZ devs are. Nobody. It's like they don't even talk about him, bro. He's a free limited 5-star and nobody talks about him. EO said Haramasa is as strong as Miyabi if you play him the right way. He then dismissed people saying he takes too much effort by saying it doesn't matter. Guys, I personally don't think there's a point in trying to take EO particularly seriously when this is what his gameplay on Miyabi looks like. Enemies are grouped up.
Or I want the corner.
Yeah, he just goes for the single mob. He just runs up, intentionally ungroups 4 enemies, and then is like, alright, my job here is done. He's so bad at the game, it's crazy.
With this in mind, the WuWa community taking shots at ZZZ is a borderline misfire, and their attempts should be directed at the very game they abandoned in favor of their current one. As for Zenless Zone Zero, their hostility towards Wuthering Waves is a misguided act of self-defense to preserve their smaller hold in the gacha industry. This does not justify their behavior, but it does help to contextualize the misplaced nature of their actions.
And I feel like the ZZZ community, a part of what they need to recognize is that 99% of the critiques that are being made about the game, it's straight up just because people don't want it to become the next HSR or Genshin. Because you've seen 2 games fall off of a fucking cliff due to awful decisions by the developers, and the same exact stuff is happening in ZZZ, and most people actually, you know, kind of actually like ZZZ, and they just don't want another game to get slaughtered by Hoyoverse's monetization practices and gameplay philosophy. They just don't want it to happen again, and you're out here getting super upset by that. Super upset by that. And just defending and thinking that people are just attacking the game because it's Wuthering Waves players doing it. When you look at their critiques for WuWa, that's a game that legitimately got attacked for no reason and deserved this level of self-defense. But like I said before, ZZZ has real reasons why it should be critiqued. Legitimate, fair reasons for why people should talk shit about it. Because there are actual massive problems that the developers have introduced that have fucked the game over and fucked over its perception in the gacha space.
Akin
And
to
I've already listed them out.
a cornered animal in need of a way out no matter the cost.
Yep.
Beyond both games' misplaced hostilities, comparing the two all the time makes no sense whatsoever, as both games only share a single similarity of being a real-time action game, and that is it. In open world does
Actually, they both have parries. They both have parries and big titty characters. So that's 2 things.
not make Wuthering Waves better if a player does not like open world games, or does not like how gacha games implement, or in some cases butcher, open world design. A harder combat system does not make Zenless Zone Zero better if players aren't looking for intense moments of heightened reflexes from their casual gacha game.
I wouldn't necessarily say that ZZZ has a harder combat system. I would say that ZZZ's combat can feel harder due to a lack of visual clarity in the boss's movesets. I'm gonna be honest here. Some of the attack animations of the newer enemies is just like... Like what, bro? There is a visual clarity problem in ZZZ when it comes to its combat. Sometimes I just don't know what's going on. And I feel like most people, when they see a boss's moveset, they're not looking for an animation that it does and then dodging at the right time. They're looking for a red flash or a yellow flash. And that's kind of like all they're paying attention to in combat. I feel like there are a lot of players that are playing ZZZ like that. They only look for the colored flashes because they're just like, yeah, otherwise I don't actually know what's going on.
A better anniversary does not matter if someone only plays one game and has no intention of playing the other.
True. That's why I made my video talking about and comparing the two anniversaries. Because you got dickless freaks going around saying,
I got 23 pulls over a regular patch. That's so much better than WuWa, who got 57 pulls.
or 52 if you're discounting login rewards.
They got 52 pulls. And so, my 29 limited pulls that I'm behind, 2 standard 5 stars is better than 29 limited pulls.
And it's like, no, not like really, not especially not like a year into launch. And that's the thing. It's just about making videos saying these anniversary rewards are quite literally comparable to each other. And they're better if you fall in one boat of players and worse if you fall in the other boat of players. And that's kind of just like it. It's basically just saying, simmer down, ZZZ pups. I understand your game has been getting shit on for the past year. It's been rightfully shit on because the devs have done some fucking stupid things to the game. Imagine your first limited character released in 1.0 gets power crept in 1.4 that does more than 2 times the damage of the 1.0 character at M6. 7 dupes of your 1.0 character is worse than 1 dupe of the new one in 1.4. Decisions like that by the devs have undeniably damaged the reputation of this fucking game. It's not like people have been attacking it for no reason. They've been critiquing it because there has been awful decisions made for this game. And I understand, yes, you finally got a bit of news that's not awful. It's rare. I know. You're so used to receiving terrible news about this game, and the one time that you get something that isn't negative from these developers, you're saying it's the best thing ever and clears everything else. And when you compare it to WuWa's anniversary, right, where WuWa has literally just been giving you amazing fucking shit since its release, and the anniversary's perception is that it isn't as good as the previous stuff we've been given, like Zhang Liao, the launch 5-star, all of that, you're suddenly taking your okay anniversary that is god tier compared to every other update you received in ZZZ, and you're taking WuWa's mid anniversary, which isn't as good as all the amazing shit that WuWa's been getting, and you're saying that despite the two of them being relatively equal, you're saying ZZZ is just fucking clearing it immediately because you're so used to dog shit updates and dog shit power creep, dog shit HP inflation, and dog shit balancing that the one time it isn't a dog shit update, you're saying this is this is God's gift to gacha. And that's just not the case. It's just not.
A better gear system does not matter if both games still have too many points of failure.
And me saying that your anniversary is not God's gift to gacha is not me shitting on your game. I've recognized that it's pretty decent. It's pretty good. It's pretty cool. It does look like God's gift to gacha, though, compared to the past updates that have been made to this fucking game.
In their respective systems that are only partially alleviated by their own implementations. So on and so forth. I believe you get where I'm going with this. Wuthering Waves has a direct competitor and should not be taking shots at a third party. On the other end, Zenless Zone Zero needs to focus on improving itself while it does not have a direct competitor at this very moment. These are both great games by all accounts and should be recognized for their achievements.
And this is the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Was I wrong to talk about the certain audience? Was I wrong to talk about a certain audience potentially becoming a problem for this channel? Yeah, but hey, I'll farm them all day. I farm idiots for fun. It's lovely. It's great. Oh, sorry for showing the better game.
They do not need to be tearing each other down, as they have nothing to gain from each other as they appeal to completely different audiences. Gameplay, story, art style, setting, it's all too different from each other to put a stamp of objectivity over one and leave the other one out to dry.
Yep. And that's why we critique ZZZ so much, ladies and gentlemen. Because otherwise, that would just show we don't care about the game. In my honest opinion, if you're not raising hell about Miyabi's power creep, if you're not raising hell about HP inflation, you're not raising hell about how dog shit the TVs were on release and how they made the game fucking unplayable, I actually don't think you like the game very much. Because you know that these are the exact same things that have killed HSR and killed Genshin for so many people. And if you don't talk about them, you probably just don't care about it. Here we go. We got one of the premier ZZZ chatters, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see when they followed. Oh, that's today. Hey, that's today, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's see what this enlightened individual is saying in my chat. Bro did not make that video. I see your cult gets hyped up. Well, Saint, ZZZ had no drama building up these rewards, and the devs gave us what we want without being quiet about and actually listen to the player base. These devs clearly give F. Are you getting paid for this? Yeah, it's like, these are things that I didn't even say. I said that your anniversary is pretty okay. It's just not the best thing ever. And this is what you had to say in response to me saying that the anniversary is okay and not the best thing ever. You're hate brigading. So me saying that the anniversary is just okay is me hate brigading. I'm off the Annie. Brother, man, you're off your medication. You have a hatred. Me saying power creep is bad, HP inflation is bad, that's hatred. And then me referencing past Hoyoverse titles that have killed the game because of both HP inflation and power creep, and saying it would be awful if ZZZ continues going down this path after we saw what happened to HSR and Genshin Impact. That's hatred. None of the games have died. Yes, the games will keep making money because what they've done is they've decided to start milking the player base instead of making actual good content. They have decided to alienate a huge portion of the population that used to play these games by making them only fun and only playable if you spend hundreds of dollars. And the end result is that you only have a dedicated group of players who all spend a fuck ton of money on the game because there's no other way to have fun with it. That's why so many CCs have dropped Genshin. So many CCs have dropped Honkai Star Rail. And you're over here saying, I'm just speaking the truth, and you haven't even addressed a single thing that I've said. Because you genuinely are so stupid, it's unbelievable. You're so dumb, it's ridiculous. And when I have to interact with idiots like you every day, and I just say it how it is, I could see how it might come off as hate. Because I'm not going to respond to stupid people and try to reason with them if I do an explanation, and then they respond with the dumbest shit I've ever seen. At some point, I've got to cut my losses.
I doubt I could really convince a significant number of people to drop their flags and to focus on improving themselves over.
How would you expect me to, like, be nice after interacting with people as dumb as this on a literal daily basis? I gotta interact with people this stupid on a daily basis. Read messages this retarded in my chat every day. At this point, I probably have credentials as a special education teacher. I probably just need to show them 2 VODs from my stream and they'll give me the certification.
We're tearing each other down, but I hope my video can provide some sense of sanity amidst all the madness. Okay, now that that's over, I guess it's time to wrap up the shit. There's a same Tone Toss chapter.
Oh boy!
Okay, I have no intention of picking a side on this one. Does that make me a fence sitter? Yes. But maybe if both sides didn't act in ways I don't agree with, then maybe I wouldn't be on this fence, yeah? To address the ZZZ crowd acting in defense to St. Tontas' content farming of the situation, you cannot respond back to his opinions by drawing direct comparisons of Zenless Zone Zero to Wuthering Waves. It's just not a favorable comparison. WuWa has no tangible HP inflation, no 75-25 weapon banner systems, and Kuro themselves do not have a history of behavior with screwing over their player base.
In the latter half of the video, and then this is the top upvoted comment. Aricado, as long as you recognize that these videos are going to attract literal retards to your channel, that's fine, right? As long as you're cognizant of it, I think that's perfectly fine. You just gotta know you will have so many dumbasses that will never watch the video, never actually hear the points you're making, and just quite literally write fan fiction in your comment section. Straight up, just fan fiction in your comment section. It's gonna happen every time my name or my face is in a vid.
Not in the same way Hoyoverse has. ZZZ may emphasize that they are a separate team from Hoyoverse, but unfortunately, words alone cannot absolve them completely of the company's actions as a whole, especially when they themselves have already fallen into the same traps as Hoyo made in
Wait, what? You said you weren't gonna pick a side, brother?
the past. If you continue to fail to understand this golden rule of an engagement with Saint Tontas, he will continue to farm and label you under the extremist crowd of ZZZ and continue to further damage the reputation of the wider ZZZ community.
I mean, this is the thing. If the ZZZ community starts, let's just be honest here, brigading me, and they're just wrong in how they're brigading me, then yeah, it makes the community look worse. Yeah, your community is going to look worse when you brigade a guy who's right. If you're gonna brigade and attack a guy who has the correct take.
As for Saint Tontas, I believe I have already made my case in a general sense in my first ever video. I like watching you, you're a great content creator, but you can also be a real asshole to people.
Hey. Yeah, I dish it back. I dish it back, bro. That's fucking base ed, bro. I don't even view that as a diss. I view that as the truth. Yeah, when I gotta deal with fucking idiots, I'll call them stupid. If somebody's dumb as shit to me, I'll call them stupid. All the time. Why not? What, am I gonna be nice to people that are not nice to me? Yeah, I'll be nice to people that are nice to me. I won't be nice to people that are fucking annoying to me. No. The fuck? What do I look like, dude? Do I look like fucking Mahatma Gandhi, bro?
To quickly go over the WuWa anniversary for a second, even if you and I both understand that the 12 banner system will not have an effect on the rerun schedule,
I'm Gandhi in civilization, bro.
As a whole, and is more of an abnormality, it is not unreasonable to expect people to not like the feeling of having to skip a character they want because they can't afford to. Banner systems as a whole are already designed to pressure people with FOMO. And just because you throw a pseudo freebie at them won't make them suddenly change their perspective on the matter if they are feeling pressured.
Wait, let me hear out this point again.
To quickly go over the WuWa anniversary for a second, even if you and I both understand that the 12 banner system will not have an effect on the rerun schedule as a whole and is more of an abnormality, it is not unreasonable to expect people to not like the feeling of having to skip a character they want because they can't afford to. Banner systems as a whole are—
I understand that, sure. Oh no, my time-limited banner is not going to be available. But this is also my point of view on it. It's not that deep. Because A, there are characters that reran in 2.1, that first ran in 2.1, that reran in 2.3. So it's kind of just like, Phoebe and Brant literally were just on banner like 90 days ago. Straight up, like 90 fucking days ago, Phoebe and Brant were on banner. So it's kind of just like, I can get it, but it's also just like, it's not like that deep, or I hope it's not that deep. This ain't like a situation that's even slightly comparable at all to new character releases, where you have Ju Fu Fu and Yi Xuan in the same patch, right? Who knows when they're gonna come back? We don't even have Miyabi's rerun date. It will have been over 6 months, or it's been over 5 months since Miyabi's release. Over 5 months since Miyabi's release, and we don't know when her rerun is. She came out on December 17th, and we don't know when her rerun is yet. And it's May 27th. So like, yeah, that's a lot of time between banners. And when the 12 banner rerun is essentially running characters like Brant and Phoebe 90 days after they released, they're rerunning a character like Rosia and Carlotta less than 100 days, or sorry, like 120 days since their release. Like Carlotta has reran more, like Jinsei and Carlotta, it's been less than 120 days since their release. 4 months, and they've already reran again. So it's more so, I wouldn't view it as, oh man, I'm gonna miss my off banner, I'm gonna miss these off banner units. It's like, holy shit, I pulled Carlotta and Jeja in 2.0. I missed Jinsei, and now Jinsei's back way earlier than I expected. I get to pull Jinsei way earlier than I expected. This is awesome. I've really been wanting her. It's the pros in this situation outweigh the cons of like missing an off schedule character. The pros are so much higher than the cons in this situation. In that, like, it's just, okay, like, I wasn't able. Guys, you motherfuckers are waiting over 5 months for Miyabi, and you don't even have news of when she's rerunning. That's just worse. I'm pretty sure y'all would have been way happier if there was a multi-banner in ZZZ and Miyabi was also running as well.
Are already designed to pressure people with FOMO. And just because you throw a pseudo freebie at them won't make them suddenly change their perspective on the matter if they are feeling pressured. You may think it's an unfair conclusion I
guess this is the thing, guys. Who are they gonna rerun in 2.4 and 2.5? I'll eat my words for sure if there are no rerun banners during version 2.4 and during version 2.5, but I'm pretty certain there's probably gonna be rerun banners in Wuthering Waves for 2.4 and 2.5. That's probably... I don't think they're just going to never run anybody for the next 90 days.
Making, but gacha games themselves are already plenty unfair. As for your opinions of the anniversary rewards for ZZZ compared to WuWa, it's obvious which one is the true winner. WuWa. However, like I've said before with your approach to escalating situations when it's absolutely unnecessary, spinning the Ellen Joe buffs as some opening of Pandora's box instead of taking at face value comes off as uncalled for, pessimistic behavior.
I have a pessimistic take about Ellen simply because they released a character like Miyabi. And believe me when I say, if Ellen buffs were happening and Miyabi was only like 1.5 extra strong, I wouldn't have had as pessimistic of a take. But when you release a character that at M0 does more than double the damage of an M6 Ellen, I don't care how you buff her, this fact that level of power was released is simply unacceptable. And that's why I have a pessimistic take about it, because they have a track record of releasing a fucked up unit. And if people are now like, oh, Miyabi's release is like okay because they buffed Ellen, nobody should be justifying that shit, bro. That is one of the most unacceptable things that I've seen a developer ever fucking do, is release a character like Miyabi. And I gotta go in and have the balanced take of nobody should now be saying that Miyabi is suddenly like, her release was like okay or fine because they just buffed Ellen afterwards. Nah, she should never have been released in her current state. And if anyone's saying that she should have been, they're so stupid, it's unbelievable.
The biggest contributing factor to why you receive a lot of hate on the regular is that you are the only content creator in this space at your level of popularity that still plays and covers all of the big four gachas, despite clearly only ever enjoying playing Wuthering Waves.
Hey, I enjoy playing ZZZ occasionally.
Most all other big-name CCs, like Tectone or Gacha Smack, have made the decision to just not cover these games anymore and move on.
I play Genshin like once a month. I play HSR like once a month. ZZZ is the gacha that I play like the second most.
So when you opt to still play all four of them, it comes off as stirring the pot for views and analytics to everyone else.
Hey man, I'm just doing my job. Know what I mean?
I am not going to tell you what games you can and cannot play, though my statement above might seem contradictory in that sense, but I would like to at least provide perspective on why you are perceived as a drama farmer all the time, though I have a feeling you're already aware of this anyway.
Yeah, I mean, bro, I guess that's a cop moment for me. And this is the thing, he didn't say there's anything bad about it. He said that's why some people, stupid people, might be angry. And that's the thing, right? If you're mad at me for my takes, I don't really care. I'll just think that, you know, unless you have like a pretty good reason for it. If your reason for being mad at my takes is stupid, I'll just think you're stupid. It's fine. It's no skin off my back. Don't worry about it, brother. It's okay to be dumb. You've gone through X amount of years of your life being dumb. Me recognizing that you're dumb is not that deep. It is what it is, bro. No big deal.
I'm sure there is more I can talk about with this subject matter, but this is already quite the long video, so I will be wrapping up now. And with that, I have said all I really wanted to about the clash of communities between Wuthering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero.
Yeah.
Me personally, my bias lies with ZZZ, as I do not personally enjoy open world games as I once used to, and
perfectly fine.
ZZZ's art style is more to my tastes. That does not mean I don't enjoy playing Wuthering Waves.
And that's why Arikado actually has legitimate concerns about the game. I'm not sure if you fully caught his message, but he's worried about power creep. He's worried about HP inflation as well. Yeah, no, he's not somebody where, oh yes, I have a ZZZ bias, so I don't give a fuck about these things. ZZZ's the best game ever. No, he's made multiple recognitions about the HP inflation, the power creep, and how it's like a very dangerous thing for the fucking game. Anybody that actually cares about the future of ZZZ and wants it to grow and not fail and succeed should also be carried.
But a creator with your influence could accomplish so much more, but you resorted to hateful approaches. I understand you have good intentions, but you made a reputation off hating, so no one takes you seriously.
Yes, retards that aren't able to understand the points I'm making don't take me seriously. Should I curate my content for the lowest denominator in the population? No, I don't, because I'm not, again, I don't want to make content for stupid people. Like, what? I feel like I'll just naturally become more unintelligent in the process. Yeah, I'm good, bro.
I think it's also a great game, but for different reasons, and I have my own preferences. I hope that in a couple months' time, when both games' respective anniversary events conclude, that we can turn the heat down on these conversations and go back to where we were before.
I'm all for that. Just tell the devs to stop ruining the fucking game. I think it's just that simple. Stop HP inflating. Stop releasing characters like Miyabi. If Yi Xuan releases and she's the same strength as Miyabi, boy oh fucking boy, I wonder how the game's gonna be balanced in the future. When we literally have a teaser of HP going up to 32 million, and I have people on my latest ZZZ upload saying that there's now defense inflation, and she has a kit that just ignores defense inflation, and her kit ignores defense. Yeah, guys. Maybe there will be a lot of people saying I was right this entire time. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I will be waiting on version 2.0 with bated breath. Because one thing that I love more than Wuthering Waves is telling stupid idiots that I was right. Let me know what you all think. I think this was a great video by Ricardo over here. We might have to cut it short a little bit because I think we've gotten through all the main points. Peace.